Guys, here's a truck I got Saturday. We went and got this thing, and it had been sitting since, let's see, 2019, last tag January 2019. So it ain't been that long, but super cool old truck. They had put new tires on it before they had parked the truck. It's not even really that much dry rot in the old tires, but had a super cool bed on it. I'm sure they dubbed this thing off the frame because I've never seen an axle so just right at the very back of it before. It's heavy duty. I mean, they, it's all done with old stick welder back in the day, but it's not bad. Put a little trailer hitch off the back, but like I said, it has been sitting in one of my really good friends' backyard, and they had purchased a house, and this was a local roofing company at one time had this truck, and it's a C50. It's a 64 model. The cab is actually not in bad shape. It's got its rust, but once again, same on the front. It had zero brakes, and there was trees like all coming up through here, and some of the remnants of bushes and limbs and leaves that was through there, but we pulled it out. Kind of funny about it is, of course, have not cleaned anything, and that is, as you can tell, like years and years of rat and animal and other things, spiders everywhere on this thing. That does have a, as you can tell right there, new gas tank that was put in the truck. The truck actually had a set of really nice Taylor spark plug wires on it at one point in time, and the rats decided that they were going to munch on them. So they got two of them. They got number 1 and number 3. So I put that in there. Everything that was wire related under the hood, as you can tell, they were kind of scarfing that stuff down as well. So it had zero functioning. All the wires just, as you can tell, the teeth marks, it was just pulled back. That's the one for the starter. I got to rewire everything as far as all that goes. They were not discriminating on plastic and oil either, because that's the line going to the oil pressure sending unit. And as you can tell, I put a new one on there. They ate the hot side wire going to the distributor when they were back there. Got it. We do have oil pressure now, and I have not put a drop of gas in this thing. I have not touched anything other than the brakes, because when we brought it back, we went down the dirt road, and it's a really long dirt road, and on top of that, there are some really good hills down through there, and we came all the way back. It was probably, I'd say, 10 miles easy with zero brakes, and the only real I guess damage was we were just letting it bump up against the back of the Buffalo right here. So that's kind of how we were stopping the truck, and the transmission. That's how we also knew that the rats had ate the oil pressure line because it was shooting oil everywhere, just because the motor was still trying to spin over because of the clutch, and you know, it would eventually just let it spin, and when it was not having the resistance of just holding it back. But this truck didn't get any damage to the front of it. It was just the small truck got a little bit more, a little dually. But this side's got more rust in it than the floorboard. It needs a panel there, but other than that, the doors are really solid on this truck. The seat could clean up. I mean, there's no rips or tears in it. I do have a fire extinguisher. Like I said, fairly new tank. And this tank actually has got gas in it, and the gas is in it. It smells terrible, but it actually will run off of that. But as you can tell, all the wires under the dash, like the rats had just ate everything out. Like all of it's got to be replaced. So that's why I kind of bypassed everything in here, because I didn't want it to short out. Then, like I said, put a new oil line on there. And put some brake fluid in it, and I haven't been able to, well, I hadn't bled it because I was just here by myself, but she definitely has a pedal to brake now. So I did put it in gear when I cranked it, and it does back up, go forward. That lever, I'm assuming the emergency brake, because these things had that emergency brake in the half ton right here that you would pull out. So I'm assuming that's going to be the drum off the back of the transmission, and that's going to be the parking brake. Needless to say, does not work, because it steadily kept trying to hump me as I was pulling it down the road. It was just bashing into the back of it. So, but like I said, the gas is so old that it actually has a little brake clean. And that's why I'm doing everything from out here and just bypass the whole inside of the truck, where there's no power going to the inside of it, due to the fact that I don't trust it. Between the rats, let's see, let's give her a whirl, crank her up, but she's been sitting forever. Doesn't smoke. It's had fairly new exhaust put on it around that time. It just set and set and set, and idle's got about 38 psi. The spokes, of course, is not even hooked up because I didn't run anything into any of that. So, and all those wires are just gone. Like I said, I didn't even have a key for it, so I just bypassed all that stuff. But the thing about this truck is you can tell it was a factory V8 by the exhaust manifold or whatever, and they had the bracket for the cables that would tied it down to the frame just in case the motor mount broke. But of course, this is a 64, and the alternator would have been over here because you wouldn't have had any accessory bolt holes. But as you can tell, somebody has swapped the motor out, and shut it off real quick. But I didn't notice it, but my best friend did. The heads, when we got to fooling with it, are accessory bolt holes. And he's like, oh, the double humps. I was like, we do have a set of 186 accessory bolt hole double humps, either off a 69 or 70 in the basement. So we went and looked, and yeah, it had the same pattern. So I got out here this morning and fooled with it and snatched the valve cover off, and sure enough, it's got a set of 69 186 double humps on it. I have not ran that number on the block, so I'm not sure what engine block that is, but I do know those heads are double hump accessory bolt holes. Pretty neat little find right there. And once again, the little truck I have not touched as far as antifreeze goes or anything, and sure enough, you can tell it's warming up. It's got a little bit of temperature to it in there. But this little thing has not been ran, I'm assuming, in 5 years. So it cranked right up. I mean, I was pretty shocked. I put a wire off the distributor, put some fire right there, and then hit it with the starter switch, and I heard it arc, and it was like ta, 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 ta. I was like, yeah, okay. Like, I know we got fire, but let's see where it's. And sure enough, 1 and 3 were just all ate up. It was terrible. But I'll take this battery terminal off and get some of this junk off the thing. I'll close the hood, as it's a neat old looking truck. And that was my thoughts. Yeah, it's gonna be for sale, but I kind of wanted to drive the old truck around, and it's a 64, so it's kind of like my station wagon. And of course, it just being that year model, I think this would be a cool truck. Pull the trailer with and have the old 64 behind it. But slam those doors. But then that bed, it's not homemade. It's something that somebody has modified, of course. You can see where they cut it down. And I don't know if that was a old like refrigerated type bed at one time, and it had sides on it, and then they put all these sides and just welded everything to it. And this thing would have had an aluminum cover, not on this truck, but on something else. It just looks like it's a kind of a hodgepodge of stuff. But yeah, I mean, that axle looks like it needs to go forward, you know, to proportion it out. But I think it kind of looks cool with that axle right at the very back of the frame. But it's not a terrible truck. And if somebody wanted to make like a ramp truck or something out of it, and kind of go a little bit more modern, and but as far as, you know, suspension and everything, because I think what size tires are those? They're 20s. It's got the Twinkies on. It's the 20s. But nah, they really 10s, but we keep them clean. But hell, it's a regroovable tire too. Oh wee. But yeah, to me, that was just a cool old truck. It's got its, you know, got its flaws. It needs a fender here, but the actual truck fenders actually really solid on this truck. I just think it's a cool old rig, and I just couldn't see it just keep on sitting out there. And once again, it was a really good friend of mine I got it from, and he was debating on crushing it. And he was like, well, if it gets higher and, you know, the price of scrap goes up, and I was like, oh no, don't do that. So I paid a little bit more than what I ever wanted to pay for this thing, but it does run really good, and it's got a really good set of heads. If somebody was looking for a set of accessory double hump heads, I need to pull that alternator off and look on that pad and see what that block actually came out of. I'm assuming it's a 350 of some sort, but I would like to know what kind of car it came out of. But I would love for it to be the motor that actually had those heads on it. Like I said, not sure. But yeah, you can kind of see some of the remnants of the lettering that was on here, and the old phone number. I think that other side's a little bit better. But yeah, it was parked in a tree line, and like I said, this stuff, it was all grown up in here. Trees was going out through the side of it and everything. So yeah, you can see a little bit of the lettering. I need to wash it. We parked it down here just because we didn't have any. We had zero brakes, and it was just had a huge field. So if it did try to get away, we could at least stop it. So that's kind of why it just got put down here. But yeah, I think it's an old cool truck, and I've got some other small blocks, and actually what I was thinking too was snatching that motor out and putting either a 283 or another engine down in it, and keeping that one depending on what it was. And I do know the motor runs great, good oil pressure, doesn't smoke, knock, rattle. So in the comments, y'all let me know what y'all would do with this thing. And like I said, it could definitely be, you know, yard driven as of right now. The brakes do, you know, hold once you pump them up. I hadn't bled them by any means. I just filled up the reservoir and let it sit overnight, and it kind of got in the system. But you can put it in gear and go to back up and stop the truck with the brakes. So you could yard drive this thing. I definitely would not recommend driving it on the road just because the brakes. But you know, after the brakes are bled on it, I think it would be fine. But because I don't think the old tires are gonna pop. They're actually in pretty good shape. You just got to trust your 20-inch Samson tires. But yeah, once again, I thought it was a cool old truck, and maybe somebody will restore it one day. It's not going to be me. I'm going to have some fun with the old truck, but it's just way too much more of I wouldn't say a project for me, but I've got so much other stuff. It's just, I'd rather save it and pass it down to the next guy, and then him have the fun with it. But heck, until I make another one, y'all have a good one. And as always, be safe. And hey, in the comments, let me know what y'all do with that motor. Till then, have a good one.